I pressed record. Now we have a jazz theme for us this morning. So I thought I might like to start, if that's okay, by asking about your website and the internet and just how long you've been doing it and how you started and why you started and what you're doing now.
Well, I can't say I exactly know how many years we've been on the internet, but I'd say we're in very early.
Yeah.
And it all sort of started when one day Islandtel, what used to be Islandtel, called us to say that there's this new thing happening called the internet.
Yes.
And they wanted to know if they could put some of our mail order business up on a website to use as examples to show others what the future's going to look like.
The old use as examples bait and switch tactic. Yes.
Exactly. So we said, sure.
Had you'd been in the mail order business for some time before that?
Yeah, and that all happened by accident too.
So you didn't start as a mail order business. You started
No.
as a store.
As a store.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had just made a decision not to chase the world to make a living and invite people to our place. We bought the old butter factory.
Right.
Then in '91, one day this gentleman comes in with a baseball cap on backwards and a chest full of cameras and says, is this a tea room? We're really hungry and can we get a bite to eat here? So we sure, so sit down and have a chat, and we'll feed you. And he had a number of people with him, and he got looking around, and I had my kilt on, and he came over and said, would you try this sweater on? I'd like to take a picture. I said, sure. So we put the sweater on, took a photograph, then kept switching sweaters, and then I was starting to say, well, can you tell me a little bit what you guys are? Oh, we're in the fashion business, and we're just taking some photographs, and we work for a mail order company in the United States. And I said, oh, well, who's that? And he said, Land's End. And I'd never heard of the company before, so have a nice day. And he had me stand out in front of the building wearing actually some of their pants and their sweaters. And so February of '91, we got a catalog in the mail.
Yes.
From Land's End, and here was 10 pages of beautiful photographs of Prince Edward Island
And you.
and me,
Yes.
and their sweaters and so on and so forth that they were buying from a local company here, from Great Northern Knitters.
Oh, they were? Okay.
Yep. And but they had me modeling cotton sweaters from another provider and so on and so forth. And they put us all in the back cover. So here was a picture of me in the back cover and serving tea and so on. I didn't think anything of it. Then, oh, that's kind of neat. Well, then the phone started ringing off the wall. And people saying, hi, I'm from Texas. You send mail order. We said, we can.
Yeah.
And we just started answering the phones that way. And then after probably a few dozen calls, I decided to call Land's End. And I said, hi, I'm calling from Prince Edward Island. And I'm just inquiring, I'm on the back cover of this month's issue. I'm just curious to know how many of these catalogs you've put out into the market. And I said, well, it's February is usually a slower issue month for us. And I said, oh, I see. How many catalogs would that be? He said, well, 4.5 million. I never fell off the chair and hung up the phone, and that's how we got in the mail order business.
And so, presumably at some point you created your own catalog, did you? Or?
We did, yeah. I think it might have been that year or the next year we decided to start taking some photos and try and put together a little brochure. And I think the first one we ever put out was working with Lionel Stevenson and Terry.
Right.
So we created a cute little black and white brochure.
Yeah. And were you, when you started your mail order business, then did you tend to be selling to people who would visit the store, pick up a catalog, walk away with it, and order a couple months later? Or?
Yeah, that's sort of always been my MO. I don't buy lists, and I don't like fishing and or just buying lists and sending catalogs out and so on. I've never really liked that. And I don't like junk mail. And
presumably you get a lot of calls, or have had a lot of calls from people wanting to buy your list, I assume.
No, not too many, because we're sort of below the radar, I think.
Right.
We're not in a huge volume.
You're not sending out 4.5 million catalogs?
No, it's usually under 25,000.
So you're still sending out a printed catalog?
We are. How much longer, I'm not sure, but certainly with the changes in the internet, things are changing, and people can download. If they want a printed copy, they can print off a PDF, and it's still not the same, though. There's a romance. There's a romance associated with the hard copy. So there's all kinds of new services. I can't remember one now, but HP has got a new one out called something Mag.
Oh, where like a catalog on demand almost.
Yeah, catalog on demand. So I can send them the list, my mailing list, and they can print the catalog just for that person, personalize it, and mail it to that person. The costs per catalog go up
Right.
considerably, but then there's other benefits to it as well. Yeah. So we're seriously
And when
looking
you
at
say personalized, do you mean like Dear Peter, or
Dear
do you mean
Peter, yeah.
here's I've ordered this kind of jam, and so I'm going to feature blueberry jam because I know Peter likes blueberries. Like, can you customize it to that extent?
we haven't looked at it that deeply, but I'm sure we could. Yeah. Yeah.
They might charge you a nickel more to personalize it to that.
Well, they were very intrigued with the fact that we were just a small mail house.
Right.
And so they wanted to discuss it a little farther into the season. But I would think if the database if the database can manage putting the name and address,
What else can it do?
what else could it do, right? And like you say, if I know that you've always eaten strawberry preserves, then I could do the reverse and put the front page all strawberries.
So how scientific or rigorous are you about your list and sort of culling your list and looking at trends in your list? And
Yeah, not very. We haven't been, but it's certainly an area now that I would like to put some focus on. I would just like to know my community, the people who support us and who bought from us and so on and so forth. So that was part of the reason we started this conversation. I think I'd just like to better understand our people, understand how it is we can serve them.
I've been thinking about customer service a lot, both because of our talk last week and because it's what I think about. And it occurs to me that when I call, the phone company or a much larger institution than you, very rarely do I feel like I'm having a conversation with someone, and it's obvious often that there's a set of rules that a script that they're following and things that they can and cannot do. And I just realized that if I was to be able to overhear the customer service department conversation at that company, they can't afford to treat me like an individual. I mean, I'm just one of a million phone company customers, and therefore they're just looking at trends. They're looking, 32% of people at PEI canceled their accounts, so we got to bump that up with some additional marketing.
Yeah.
Whereas you can, presumably, to a much greater extent.
Yeah. Well, we could offer more services. Plus, there's joy for me and as a company, morale, and so on and so forth. If we know our customers, if it's just not another number in the database.
Right.
If we know our customers, we can have some fun and with the people on the other end of the line. As long as we're making our margins and we're moving forward and everybody's happy, then that's what it's all about.
So if you look at your business as a whole now, and you look at internet and traditional mail order and people coming to the store, and that's a pie chart, how would the pie slices divide up?
I would say mail order, generally speaking, would represent would probably represent about 10% of our retail sales.
Okay.
Yeah. It actually used to be a greater number, but it just seems to be going down a wee bit. So about 10%.
And presumably, you were alluding to the fact earlier, before we started recording, but the fact that that's become more difficult, especially with border issues, that mail, it's a shrinking percentage, but an increasing complexity.
Yes, yeah. Well, we've got through all the hoops. The last 3 years, 4 years have been just challenges upon challenges upon challenges with FDA regulations, labeling regulations. So now we're required to send, if we send a food product in the United States, even though we're a small mail order or a small preserve maker in Canada, we have to meet all the same regulations as the big boys. So that makes it very challenging. It has made it very challenging for a small company to deal with all those regulations. So we've got through that hoops. We've now print our labels in-house, so it's managed by a database. So if we get your order from Texas, then we turn around and print the labels off for the food products for American standards.
Oh, okay. Like the actual labels for the product itself, not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because their nutritional labeling is different than ours.
Right.
Their font size is different than ours, and they want this on the right-hand side of the label, and the Canadian government wants theirs on the left-hand. It's just, some of the stuff is really kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is, and we're a little company, and we just got to deal with it.
Well, and that's interesting because I think presumably there's a sweet spot where you can be small enough to be who you are, but large enough to be able to invest in technology like that
Yep.
in a way that if you were much smaller or even slightly larger,
Yep.
you would sort of fall out of the
Yeah, I think we're in a good position because, if we likened the market to the ocean, and the large companies go through with their streamliners, right, in their wake, little guys like me come along and just sort of pick up our fair share of the market and do it hopefully to the benefit to those who don't want to be railroaded by the large companies and who want a more intimate relationship with their suppliers. Yeah.
Our friend David Wheel came to me 4 or 5 years ago and asked me if he should have a website.
Right.
And I said, no, you shouldn't have a website.
Okay.
Because, and I guess I felt that way because, David is a unique individual, the qualities of which I thought just wouldn't translate into that environment.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about whether, you sort of fell into mail order because there was some demand, and you fell into the internet side of it because you were a mail order company, essentially. But in the seeking that you're trying to do to sort of establish some of the authenticity of the immediate visitor experience on the web, presumably it's possible that you can't do that.
Right.
I mean, through no matter how much you Twitter and Facebook and email people, all you're ever going to come up with is some thing that is not really genuine at all.
Yeah.
I don't know that to be the case.
I'm not sure. I think you can make, if you answer the phone with a smile on the face, the customer on the other end knows you have a smile on your face, right? So, as humans, we can catch authenticity quite quickly. So I think that's all that we want to be, is authentic. And we somehow want to be able to allow our customers to know that, in the sense that next time they think about something they need, a need that they need met as it relates to a gift or specialty food or 4 people coming over for dinner and they need something quick, and that's sort of that's where we want to fit. So one of my favorite books that I read starting out in business, it was called a book by Al Rise and Jack Trout, I believe is the name. It's called Positioning, and it just taught me a lot about our own psychology, about it's only in a part of our minds, as a market. So when people think of something, I want them to think of us in that context. So
it's interesting because I've always held that one of the natural resources that Prince Edward Island has is exactly that. Like when I was thinking about, just you're talking about gifts. We had at my son's school, we had a silent auction, silent auction last year. And so I was going around to people that I knew, gathering up various things. And I went to a friend of mine who works at Cows, and I asked him if he could donate some sort of Cows gift basket and an Anthony Gable's chocolate store basket. And they did, and they were a beautiful basket. And then 6 months later, it was Christmas time, and I had clients that I wanted to send gifts to, and I immediately thought, wow, that whole worked out well. Why don't I spend some money there? And that's sort of that ecosystem. Presumably is, it's the way Prince Edward Island works, and you're sort of, I think, by reaching out and having visitors participate in that, are sort of bringing people into that. So.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting the difference between no and yes. If you had gone to both those establishments and they said, no, our policy is we can't make donations because everybody asks, that would have been your last impression, and that would have been the last thought you would have had about spending your money there. And I've known from experience what happens to companies that say no. So as a rule, we really work hard to find some alternative to that word. Right?
Maybe.
An alternative.
Right.
Like just a few weeks ago, we were asked point blank, dear sir, we were trying to fundraise and gave all the purposes and reasons and so forth. We would like a $100 gift certificate from your company, right? So we sat down and looked at it, thought all the things. Well, that's a bit, da-da-da-da. And we worked ourselves all around and said, well, let's sit on this for a few days, right? So we sat on it for a few days, and then they came back a few days later and said, well, we're doing a fundraiser. We're just looking for silent auction items. Right, so it was kind of intriguing on their part. They first went and asked for $100. They probably got a bunch of either hesitations or no, and then they've come back and said, "Can we have?" So,
well, I think the important part of any conversation like that, like if I was to phone you in that way, it's important to me that I have a pre-existing relationship with you as much as it is the other way. I mean, not to say that it has to be this secret insiders club.
No.
But at the same time, I think that's the sort of the reason that you would extend yourself is because you know that I would extend myself back, and that the network, so to speak, would extend itself.
To a certain degree, you can't always give with an expectation of receiving back.
No, I don't mean direct expectation, but I mean the betterment of the world.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
So, just talk to me about the sort of the technicalities, starting from that initial Island Towel experience. Sort of how did that work? What was your role in conceiving of it? And did you like it or not? Or?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but yeah, it was just interesting to be on there, just to be out there, and it was sort of a new thing. And I think at every step of the way, we've always tried to work with providers that I've either personally got along with, and I like their style, and I put all my trust in them to take us where it is that they felt we should go. So it was just always just a learning journey for me. And I think I'm now just sort of coming to a place where I'd really like to understand this in a much deeper way, in the relationship way, and not just a sort of one-dimensional model on that. Let's figure out how to get more sales using this tool. Though ultimately, that's certainly what we like to create is more sales, but I don't want to do it just for that reason.
Well, I mean, I think the fact that I'm sitting here is largely because you didn't come to me and say, we've done this study and the size of the worldwide, spreadable fruit market is $2 billion, and we just want to get our own
fair share
of that.
Yeah.
Which seems, I mean, maybe that's true, but it's not particularly interesting.
Nah,
So,
no.
I mean, it strikes me that, if you look at the best of breed in e-commerce and how it works, and just the very basic logistics of it, it seems to me that the world has sort of figured that out. I mean, there'll be sort of variations on that theme. But, if you look at the process of ordering something from Amazon.com, it's, think of a book, click order, it arrives the next day. Like they've removed all the obstacles to that.
Seamless.
So that should just sort of be a given now. And I think anyone can, it's not to say that it's an easy process, but if you look at the usability of your ordering experience, the pinch points will jump out at you. I mean, how many websites have we all gone to where you're happily going along and ordering, and then all of a sudden you have to register? And it's like, I don't want to register, I just want to buy this thing, and you walk away. So it's not hard to see those things now. So it seems to me now that we've gone that far, the next step is to look at how this could be different than just a replacement for the order form in the printed catalog. How could it be totally different in kind?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I know that this year we would like to give a trip away, and that people can actually come and feel the sand, come and feel the air, and experience the space. So in making that offer on our website, we hope that they dig in deeper as to find out more about Prince Edward Island. Now we're assuming that a higher percentage of people who come to our site are people who've already been physically here to PEI or been to our site, or in a lot of cases they would have received our products as a gift from another traveler. So if they go to the website to dig in and scratch down a little deeper, we're hoping to say, well, we'd like you to win an opportunity here, or you have an opportunity to win a trip to come and visit with us. So that's one thing we want to do, to be able to sort of change the texture a little bit. Yeah.
In terms of your huge mail order operation, I go to your website, I order a jar of something.
Yeah.
Tell me what happens next.
Well, right now, to me, there's a whole lot of things kind of missing, but we want to work towards making better. Right now, what happens is you'll get a confirmation that your order was received. We use PayPal right now as a clearinghouse for. You don't have to have a PayPal account, but we use PayPal systems for the clearinghouse on our money. And the customer on the other end hopefully feels secure about the crispness and the response and so on and so forth. And then on our end, it's where it's a little bit of a disconnect right now. It's not seamless for us. The banking's been looked after, which is new for us, because prior we used to just get the through the secure server. We used to get the person's credit card numbers, and we would go stand over the dialing for dollars machine and send it through the Interact system and so on. We're trying to cut down all the steps so that we can minimize our costs of doing business this way, that we in turn can minimize your costs, which might be a barrier to you doing business with us. So right now the banking's looked after.
So you have my money.
I have your money.
Right.
So then the objective for us is to get that parcel out the door within 24 hours. So right now we're working on an 8-hour day. So if your order comes in this morning, then our goal is to get it out by 4 o'clock this afternoon.
And this order is going to New Glasgow, is it? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we answer the phones in New Glasgow. There's not a call center somewhere in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which always amazes and surprises and delights people, particularly from the United States, that are actually talking to somebody. Sometimes it might even be me, and which sometimes is a shrill or a shriek. Oh, I met you. This is kind of nice. And so the order's taken there, it's processed there, it's packed there, it's shipped from there.
So I placed this order, the money's taken care of. The order arrives in New Glasgow by email, or you have some screen where you see your new orders, or?
Yeah, by email.
Okay.
Through our web store.
So you now know that you have the money and you know where to ship it to and you know what's been ordered.
That's right.
And are you doing some sort of inventory? Is your web inventory tied into your actual inventory so that
it will be.
Okay.
It will be.
That's one of the missing links. Then.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I feel we have the software. It's all sort of new for us, so we're just now working with possibly a new consultant who can hold our hands through this process a little bit. Who has lots of experience on the back end of running mail order businesses with this software. Yeah. And then bringing that software into our point of sale system as well, so that it's all connected. Yeah.
So, how many people would conceivably be involved on from the email to it going out to the mail process?
We've got it down almost by half. So it used to take almost 4 people to touch every order. Now it's down to really one person. One person, because now the banking's looked after. So there'll always be the accountant and bookkeeper making sure all the nickels and dimes match up. So that will always be a cost. But now the person who's processing the order can not worry about the banking, just pack the order, do the shipping, do the FDA, and send out the door.
So it sounds like you're coming to the point where although you still need that person, the sort of different operations that person has to do are being not removed, but at least streamlined.
Yeah.
So you can get the cost of that processing part.
Yeah.
Down.
And the efficiency. So now that, because we only have a physical space of what it is we have, which is about 12,000 square feet. So the benefit of making things proficient, both in technology-wise, is that now I have one person who only needs to be in the building to send out that order. So now if we get our costs down, then I want to increase the number of orders that are coming through the building so that we can bring more people back.
Right.
And put everybody to work, working efficiently, and that the margins are relatively healthy, and we can sustain that portion of our business.
And when I get my order, is there any evidence in my order of who that one person in New Glasgow was that processed it?
Yep. Yeah, well, we put a card in, and it's handwritten, and we just thank you for your order. My name is Lynn. Here's our phone number. So if there's any issues, any problems, but it's not a cold. Any problems, call us, right? It's hi, thank you for your order, Lynn.
And do you notice that when people, if there were issues or if people do call, do they ask for Lynn?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So at Christmas, everybody personalized. If they pack the order, they personalize their own message and their own card in there.
Right.
And the last 2 Christmases, we've sent out little Christmas ornaments to say the whole piece of love.
I mean, I know that I had an instance where I ordered something, some computery thing that was worth about $100, it didn't work, and so I emailed the company fully expecting that it was going to consume weeks of my life to get this resolved. Got back an email from the sort of Lynn of that business saying, we're going to send you a new one. Don't bother sending the old one.
Right.
We'd appreciate it, though, if you would take the old one, run it over with your car, shoot a video of it, and send us the video, if you want.
Really?
I mean, it's obvious
Yeah.
that there was just a human being
Yeah.
there. And I mean, I think that's the other advantage you have, is that people on a larger scale can't afford to be human about the experience. And
Right.
you can. And as you say, when you answer the phone or Lane answers it, whoever it is,
Yeah.
that's such a surprising thing because people don't expect it.
Yeah.
So,
That's, yeah.
I mean, I presume that you would have an opportunity to, ship a crate of your product to a warehouse in Idaho and hire a call center. I mean, cut yourself out of the process entirely
Yeah.
and cut your costs in half if you wanted to. But that's
Yeah.
not the business you're in. I guess.
That's and we looked at that. I studied it because that was sort of the business model that was being promoted and so on and so forth. And I buy all the books so I kind of looked at it. Well, yeah, that would take a lot of headaches away in some ways, but then it's just again, it would be to me, it'd be like giving your child to somebody else to rear them.
Right.
Just I couldn't do it. So. And same on retailing our product or wholesaling our product to other retail stores. I've always had difficulty sort of doing that because we lose control of what's happening with our product. So if they choose to display it in a window with lots of sun and it bakes the product even further, or if it's a dust-filled store, so our brand's not really being well represented. So we've kept that a little closer to our chests. Maybe sometimes a little too close,
Yeah.
but that's who we are. Yeah.
Maybe we'll finish there for today.